Global mobility I think, in a corporate setting is coordinating the movement of employees from one country to another, and it requires collaboration from many business stakeholders and external partners, including immigration, tax, relocation, global travel, and even the business themselves when it comes to managers playing an active role. So that's how I would define global mobility on its face. But of course, there's so many soft skills that go along with making this a successful function. I would say empathy, patience, clear and proactive communication with all of the various stakeholders involved, and just managing expectations. So that's really a very key part of making global mobility a success as well.
Global mobility is taking care of a person who is going to work in another location that could be in the same country or it could be overseas, and is moving, and he has to change his whole life, his or her whole life, to do this. And also, this person will take probably his family or her family with everything that is around them. So it takes a lot of effort for them. So we are there for this person and his or her family to work together to make things easier for them. So this is exactly what we do. We move them, but we only not move them physically and move possessions. We move lives, and this is why it's very, very important for us to get that connection. And this is what we do. We connect them, we see what they need, and we try to smooth the process for them of moving to another place.
So global mobility to the business is an area of opportunity for expansion of the company. So a lot of companies like to expand their business into new countries, and global mobility plays a critical role in that expansion. There's also an opportunity for global mobility to be seen by the business as a partner in strategic development of their employees across the world.
I think specifically bringing people into the US, the first step is immigration, and getting the US work visas, if you're coming from certain countries, can be a pretty easy process, but it can also be quite a struggle if you're coming from other countries where there is a lot of delays and difficulties just securing the visa. But then your visa status, you're going to have to go through renewals. You're going to have to think about, are you going to get a permanent residence in the US? And that US green card process can be quite a headache for some people, especially if you're coming from countries with a huge backlog.
So I think from a cultural perspective, Canada is a very open country from an immigration perspective. There are a lot of cultures represented in Canada, and whether you're out west or out east, you'll see varying representations of different cultures. So you'll find a Chinatown in Toronto, and if you go out west, you'll see Chinatown in Calgary as well. And here in Toronto in particular, where I reside, there's a lot of little towns or little parts of the community that represent different parts of the world, like Italy, China, Little Manila for the Philippines, north of the cities. So it is very diverse. I think the second thing that appeals to people is just to come to Canada in terms of, experiencing Canada. We have large cities, very large cities, busy cities, and we also have, great parts of Canada that feature, national parks, forestry, the Rockies out west. So, the land is very diverse and vast, and anybody that comes into Canada, for whatever reason, if you can experience different parts of Canada and the different vastness of it, we totally encourage that as Canadians.
I'm fortunate to have grown a global mobility career in the United States. I think it is the nexus for a lot of great companies. There's so many opportunities in the United States, and it gives me an opportunity to manage the program that's headquartered in the U.S. despite having offices all around the country. I mean, all around the world, actually. And one of the major drawbacks, though, I feel like, is the complexities of U.S. regulations, whether it's in immigration or tax. In immigration, it can take 10 years to get somebody a green card, depending on how backlogged the country is. There's a lot of labor market testing involved, a lot of prevailing wage, and there's not actually, in contrast to popular belief, there may not be a lot of options to bring somebody to the United States if they're currently overseas. I also feel like there's a layer of complexity when it comes to tax regulations that goes beyond just our national borders, but going from state to state, and depending on how much time you have spent in each state, and whether it's going to create a business, a permanent establishment in that state, I think it's really complicated. So that's my drawback to that.
I think bringing people into the U.S. does have its own distinct challenges. The first and foremost, and it's critical and a big problem, is that these employees don't have a U.S. credit history. So the things that you need to do to get settled in easily and quickly into the United States become very difficult. You might have to get a guarantor to sign a lease. You might not be able to get a credit card. It's going to be hard to get an auto loan for the car that you want to buy. So it becomes up to the responsibility of the mobility practitioner to make sure that they can source appropriate resources to help overcome that challenge.
Canada has had a history of open borders and welcoming foreigners from all over the world for over 50 years. Of late, of course, as the economy has experienced increase in unemployment, the government has become more prudent in actually evaluating foreign workers coming into the organization. Sorry.
I think one of the greatest benefits of mobility in the US and arguably elsewhere is just the fact that, particularly over this past year and change, mobility has been elevated. I think the businesses at various organizations understand the importance of the mobility function, the fact that we need, if you will, the fact that we have a lot of expertise and knowledge that can serve as a great benefit to the organization in ensuring that we're pushing things forward and meeting our goals. And I think that makes it even more exciting that we're able to have those conversations with various partners across the organization to ensure that we're moving forward.
So the United States, as many of you know, is the land of opportunities. A lot of people all over the world, including myself, dream to come here, not only because of the culture, but also because there are opportunities to study, to work, to really build a life here. And so I believe that global mobility makes it really attractive, especially for companies that want to bring new talent into the United States.